Welcome to SuperCoach and welcome to another player profile. I'm going to talk about Lloyd today, and he's a man that served me very well last year, broke out big time, but a fella that I won't be selecting this time around. Now, I'll discuss that throughout the video, a few reasons as to why. It's not to say that I don't think he's going to average very well, but just in terms of the financial aspect, I think there might be better options. Now, a few stats, obviously, 2014, got onto the scene, 58.4, then 69.3, 84.6, a solid year in 2016, 87.3, really solid, particularly the first half of the season, and then 2018 was just outstanding. Now, I think, for me, he's priced at 608k now. And I won't be getting on board. As I said, he served me very, very well. I went with him last year with a mini risk, a guy who is unproven. You're hoping that they break out into the premium bracket, and he did so. Served me very, very well. Even beyond expectation, I was hoping for an average in the high 90s, but to go 112 was outstanding. So I hear you saying, why won't you pick him again, Shorty? Well, 608k is a lot of coin for a guy who's had one premium season. Now, you've got to look at it always relative to price. Last year he's priced far cheaper. You've got a fair bit of positivity about what he could do. Therefore, you weigh it all up and you say, yeah, I'm going to back him in. He's at a good price for a guy who I believe is capable of premium numbers. It serves you well. But now, a year on, I still have the same thoughts towards his ability, and I think he's an extremely good player. But with that price tag next to him, it's a lot of coin, and I often say we want to be confident in where we're spending our big coin. That's why I think it's great to spend up big in the midfield. They are the most reliable and the biggest point scorers. The back line, historically, has had some fluctuation and has been difficult to know exactly where to spend your money. Now, I still think Lloyd will have a very good season, and I certainly like his prospects to average well. I don't think he'll average 112 again. I mean, I'll go to a few numbers in a second and really explain how Lloyd boosted that average. And in essence, 2017 was a very consistent season. He was between 80 and 110 for a lot of the year, which is very, very solid. But he didn't have a ceiling. He scored 6 tons in 2017, and those scores were 100, 100, 101, 106, 110, 114. And a lot in the 80s, 90s. So it just led to an 87.3 average. Obviously a couple of low ones in there too, but he just didn't have that ability to make a good game into a great game. And sometimes that can be okay, reliable, but he was just lacking that 6 to 8 extra points per game. Now, last year saw him go absolutely bang. He had a low score of 71, so he kept that consistency. That was the only one under 80, but he had 14 tons, which was very, very impressive. But scores of 136, 141, 149, and 173 certainly showed that he was really capable of going big. Finding more of the ball, he intercepted better, and continued that good ball use off the half-back line. So I guess you're saying, well, Shorty, why on earth won't you pick him? He's travelling extremely well. There's no reason why he won't do it again. And I agree with all of that. But I do think Rory Laird, who, albeit isn't too much cheaper, I think around 40k cheaper, but I just think he's a more reliable option. He's the guy I'll be going with for my first pick defender. I love Whitfield. I personally think Whitfield will be the top scoring defender. And I think we often get sucked in, and I guess it's human nature, to being so reactive to last year. This time last year we're speaking about Lloyd in not so good terms. I was on board, but there are a lot of haters saying that, he's not capable of going the big ceiling. He's never going to be a guy to get too much beyond 95. He's always just going to be a safe, solid 80 to 90 pick. He's got that ability, but I'm not sure. There were a lot of doubters last year. All of a sudden he goes bang, and everyone's picking him. He's this guy who could never fail. I mean, he had an outstanding year, but last year could prove to be his career best season, and he may average around 100 for the rest of his career. Obviously, that's a bit of guesswork, but I'm very confident we'll be able to get him a lot cheaper than that 608k price tag. And the reverse, I mean, use Jack Billings as an example. We write guys off so quickly too. One bad year. Granted, Billings is young and has only had 190 plus season, but so often we're like, no, never again, they're burn men. And we write guys off so quick. And the same can be said for our premiums. We look at what they did the year before and almost without question expect them to replicate that. And look, often it's the case, when you see players start to break out and they have a 2 to 3 to 4 year period where it's the best part of their career. And that could be what Lloyd is about to experience. But for me, if you're spending more than 600k, I really need a bit more than just one season. I really do want examples of premium output year on year. And you can't always get that. Sometimes you have to go with your gut. But I really think, it's a different thing spending 20,000 on someone, if it's a Dunkley or someone like that. But when you're going beyond the 600,000 mark, I really want to be very, very confident and certain that they're going to deliver great numbers. As I said off the top, confident Lloyd will score well, but I could see a likely scenario where he does just average high 90s, early hundreds, and I think we could get him 100,000 cheaper than what he is. So I have said these sort of calls before, not going that real top expensive guy in your starting squad. That's probably burnt me in the midfield before. So certainly worth learning from that. But I still subscribe to that theory in the back line and the forward line. And look, sometimes even the ruck. I think Grundy's a exception to that rule this time around, but you've got to be careful where you spend this big coin. Off the top, make sure you're confident. So I won't be picking him, and don't take that as if I think he's going to fall off the perch and have a poor year. I still think it's going to be a good year, but I think in years to come we'll look back at that 112 average and say, gee, that was an outstanding season and clearly his career best. So that's where I stand with that one. I'll be putting my faith in other guys. Really confident in Laird, Whitfield, Williams, and I've gone Witherden as well, who's a bit of that, semi-breakout sort of performer. I guess a bit like the Lloyd of last year, priced nicely and you're expecting them to come on in leaps and bounds. Different age, but similar price range. So I think I'll just pick up Lloyd a fair bit cheaper. I definitely expect him to be in my side at some point in the season, but it won't be from round one. So I'll be interested to hear your comments on that one, because I know Lloyd has been pretty popular. A lot of people locking him right into their side. So if you disagree with me, guys, let me know. If you've got any guys you want me to profile, certainly throw them in the comments. Trying to get round to a few. I think I'll have a Michael Walters coming up, hopefully in the next couple of days. So thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you all soon. Cheers.